to the holiday season. How does everyone deal with that? Good? Easy?
Not so easy, especially
No.
when they bring all, everybody brings chocolates to the dealership.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's hard to eat healthy.
You really have to turn your
Cookie
head.
trays, chocolate
Cookie
trays.
trays.
Oh my gosh.
You were saying no?
It's just stressful in general, and then, I have 2 kids, and it's like, okay, let's just throw this together, eat this, and, because we're always running somewhere. And then the holidays are even amplified with our running here and there, everywhere. Go in people's houses, you don't know what they're gonna have to eat, and it's just
That's the hardest part.
hard. It's hard.
Trying to
Eating
keep
other
track
people's
of foods that are prepared differently.
What's that? Oh, other
Feeding other people's, food that's
Yeah.
prepared differently.
Yeah. If you're concerned about the way you eat, but, yes. Okay, so we're gonna talk all about this because there's a reason why everyone in January ends up with the flu or seasonal affective disorder or all kinds of other health challenges because of what we put ourselves through during the holidays. And so it's interesting when we look at what's really going on with the holidays and what we should be experiencing during the holiday season. And holidays, the definition is a holiday, a day of festivity or recreation when no work is done.
Amen.
I was just gonna say.
Isn't that amazing? That's the actual definition of a holiday.
How we doing there,
And
Deb?
since when are the holidays a time when no work is done? Well, instead of entering into the holiday season, knowing that you're going to be stressed and overwhelmed, and almost often people dread the holidays because of everything they know they have to do, we're going to change that this year. We're going to make the holidays a time that is pleasant and enjoyable, which is what it was meant to be. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few of these ideas. We're going to talk about mindful eating for the holidays, and then I'm going to make you some healthy desserts and show you how to do that. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Feel free to get yourself some breakfast if you want to while we're talking. So when I look at the holidays, why are they less than happy and relaxing? I think it's the syndrome of too much and too little. And what do I mean by that? We do too much. We think everything has to be perfect. We have to send out every Christmas card to every single person we ever met. We have to decorate. We have to make all these cookies. All right, we think we put that pressure on ourselves, everything. So we do too much. We eat too much of the wrong foods. We drink too much, alcohol and other things. We spend too much, and we end up after the holidays in debt, and so forth. We even spend too much time with people we don't get along with sometimes, right? And so we go into the holidays, we're going to fix it, we're going into the holidays dreading all of this, because that's what we do, the syndrome of too much. And then there's also the syndrome of too little. We do not rest enough. It's really interesting because Mother Nature's telling you in the holidays, or during the winter, you're supposed to hibernate. It gets dark early, right? Dark late, you're supposed to rest and relax. And it's kind of ironic, if you can't tell today by looking at me, I was up all night last night. Our dog ran away, and we found her this morning.
no.
We were up all night.
Oh.
Opened the door, she went running after something.
That's awful.
And it's very hard to track down a chocolate lab in the middle of the night, all night long. So I'm a little bit tired this morning, but I'm here and glad to be here.
Thank you.
But during the holidays, I do, and actually throughout the year, I do make rest a priority. But you have to do that. You really have to follow the rhythms of Mother Nature, which we've talked about before, and think about that it's winter time, so it's happening. Yes, you're going to stay up a little bit late on some of the holidays and enjoy festivities, but you've got to make sure that while you're getting ready for the holidays, that on your priority list is rest and taking care of yourself. So not enough rest, not enough eating healthy foods, which also, when we fill our bodies constantly with sugar and processed junk and all of that, we can't handle the stress of the holidays because we're all wired on sugar and it's making us erratic with our emotions and our energy level, right? So the way that we're eating contributes to the way that we're feeling, not only physically but emotionally. We don't get enough exercise because we're so busy doing other things. And sometimes we don't spend enough time with the people we truly care about. Because we feel, again, I'm doing too much, that we have to go spend time with everybody and do so much. Or sometimes, some of that could be for some people, not spending enough time with people because you're lonely and you don't have anybody. And that does happen. We see people with that. And we have strategies for that as well. And one of them is, I recommend to my clients that are dealing with that, or maybe they lost a loved one, that they get involved with charity work. You know, the local food banks have all kinds of great things going on, especially around the holidays. And there's ways to get yourself out of the mold of thinking about what you're not happy about in your life and put your love and your care out in the world, and before you know it, you realize that the things that you're doing add value to someone that really needs you, and your problems don't seem so big. So this syndrome of too much and too little is really the problem, and it's easy to bring it back into balance. And that's the same thing with anything in our lives. When we're out of balance, that's when our emotions don't feel right, our physical body doesn't feel right, and you need to be in balance with your food and your lifestyle. And that's really all you have to do to enjoy every day of the year, and especially around the holidays as well. So what are some strategies to go into the holidays prepared to have the best holiday season ever? One is to think about writing down your intentions. What do you really want to experience this holiday? What you're doing going into the holidays is you're saying, oh no, I have to do this, I have to do that, it's going to be stressful, I'm not going to be able to eat right, I'm going to have to be with my cousin who we never get along with, right? All these things going on in your mind. Instead, sit down and imagine, what do you really want to experience this holiday? True time with people you love in a relaxed manner. Do you really think that your loved ones are going to remember that every decoration was perfect and every gift was perfectly wrapped and every card was perfectly written? No, what they're going to remember is you and how you are. And if you're relaxed and loving and warm and more laid back, that is what they want to experience with you. So set your priorities. Like what? So you set your intentions first of what do you want to experience, and that's kind of what I think about, is relaxed and joyful. And then set your priorities around that. What is the most important thing for you? Like, who do you really want to spend quality time with? What are, the key priorities? And if priority one is that you have to write out a holiday card, or Christmas card to every single person you ever met in your life, and it's causing you stress, cut it down. Cut the list down. Or how about one year, you just send out a few emails saying, I'm skipping cards this year. You know what I mean? Like, set those priorities. And keep that to the things that are most important first, and if you get down the list to the things that are less important, then you feel good, and you're getting through that. Create a plan. So let's say you have, and you want to, because you enjoy it, you have 50 people you need to buy a gift for. How about a plan then? Set days on your calendar of when you can go shopping or get online, or if you're making gifts, whatever, and start thinking about how you're going to accomplish that over the next month or so. Because procrastination can cause a lot of stress, right? The night before Christmas and you're out at the mall with everybody else trying to get things. So just kind of set a plan and do the best you can to meet the plan. And you'll notice where you're missing if you're not meeting your plan and how to get back on track. Create a spending budget, right? If you need to think about that, and there are so many beautiful creative things you can give as gifts that don't have to cost too much. Friend of mine my best friend from high school just turned 50 yesterday, and she told me how, and her and her sister never really got along real well. She told me, she said, my sister sent me for my birthday. So what? She wrote the 50 things I love about my sister. And she was laughing about some of them. She said she was really trying hard to come up with it. But wasn't that something? Like, you can buy an expensive gift for someone, but that had so much meaning to her, especially considering they had to tricky relationship through their lives. So just, there are ways to do things that have more meaning, and you don't have to spend so much. Eliminate the low priority tasks and learn to delegate. So even if you don't have a cleaning person, and you don't have time to clean your whole house for the holidays, hire someone, okay, to do that. How about, instead of feeling like you have to bake 100 different cookies for the holidays, go to a really nice bakery or the Whole Foods or something and buy some things. And that might be completely against what's on your priority list. But if it's not high on your priority list, don't delegate, right? I've learned to not go to the mall and do a lot of my shopping catalogs and online, and I start early. I start browsing through catalogs as soon as they start coming, which are already coming, and I start earmarking pages and thinking about people that might enjoy, right? It's so relaxed, and I get the list going, and then it's really easy to pick up the phone or get online and order things for people. So, making that plan for yourself. Learn to say no. So you already set your intentions, you have your priority list. And somebody says you have to do something, and it's not on that priority list. Say no. Say it with love and whatever. Say, I really have certain things that I want to accomplish for this holiday season, and that I just won't have time for that, and that's going to, make me feel stressed. So if it's okay, I'd like to skip that this year. And maybe I can follow up in the new year with something to cover that. You see what I'm saying? Just learn to say no. Or if you get invited to 100 different gatherings, you got to decide which ones are the ones that mean the most to you. Whatever makes sense for you on that. Get plenty of rest. I already mentioned that. When you are rested, and drink plenty of water, and learn to choose as many real whole foods as possible this time of year, because you're going to end up at someone's function, and the foods are not going to be ideal for you personally, right? You had mentioned. So eat the best you can throughout. And I have a little trick about that too. When I go to a holiday dinner, and some of the foods are not foods I would choose normally, I make sure we have little tricks about eating mindfully, we'll talk about that. I don't go hungry to the function, right? And I do choose more of a few things that are on the table that I feel good about. But if it's really important to that person, then I do have a little bit of it, because that person made it with love and invited you over. That becomes more healing to you to say, this person made this food with love, and I'm just going to have a little bit. It's the holidays, and you feel good about that instead of telling yourself, oh, this isn't good for me, I would never eat this normally, I'm going to get sick, this is not, right? That's not good. So choosing your thoughts around that might help if that's important to you. We're going to talk about mindful eating a little bit better as we get into that. Make sure you get some exercise. It's all the same things. You got to put those as priorities, especially during the holidays. The rest, the drink water, the eat healthy, get some exercise, especially, because you want to support yourself during this stressful season to make sure that the stress doesn't affect you. Make sure you continue to take your vitamin D. We talked about that before. You need vitamin D, and this time of the year it's nearly impossible to get vitamin D even on a sunny day. Do something truly nice for someone. If you are feeling lonely, unhappy, stressed, miserable, any of the above during the holidays, get out of yourself and think about someone in need and do something for that person. That'll really make your holiday special, and you're going to feel so good. So you see what I'm doing, right? Just switching. And that would hopefully become a priority then for you on your priority list. Remember to breathe. We talked about for stress management, right? You got to breathe. So we talked about all these foods in the holidays, and it's going to be impossible to eat healthy through the holidays, and I'm sure on January 1 or 2, I'm going to be I've gained weight, I feel miserable, my stomach doesn't feel good, I need to go on a major diet, crash diet, or detox plan to try to get back in order, right? Wouldn't that be great to January 1 shows up and you're like, wow, I go through the holidays doing the best I can for myself. Sure, I ate a little bit of Aunt Edna's chocolate cake, okay, but I enjoyed that, and she made it with love. But I did so well managing my stress, managing my lifestyle during the holidays. At January 1, I feel fabulous. That's the way to start the new year, right? So how do we do this? And we talk about eating mindfully during the holidays. And a couple very simple, and I have the articles up here. And I was sorting through them this morning. I realized my printer gave out on this one, but we can make copies or whatever. But so the article's all about this if you need a reminder. So first of all, drink plenty of water. I mentioned that already, but before you go to a function where you know there's going to be a lot of junk food or something, or foods that are going to entice you, that you know aren't good for you, make sure you have a really good drink of water. Often when somebody's craving sweets, they're thirsty, or craving sugar. So just make sure you have a nice, good glass of water before you go to the function if you're worried about taking care of yourself with the foods. Choose wisely as much as possible. So if there's a whole buffet, and there is a vegetable tray, and maybe some potatoes or something, try to really hone in on those and fill your plate with those. Then you only have room for a little bit of those things that you think could possibly make you feel miserable. Now some of you were thinking, well, wait a minute, I want to eat the things that are bad, and that's fine, that's fine. But just do the best you can and try to fill that plate with those whole foods and mostly plant foods as much as possible. Do not deprive yourself of certain tastes and textures. Okay, so I talked Aunt Edna's chocolate cake. Well, if I look forward to Aunt Edna's chocolate cake every year, because it's a special cake that she makes for the holidays, and we've always had that cake every year since I was little. I'm just making this up, but I do experience that. I will have a little bit, because that does make the holiday special. And I don't feel guilty about it, right? That is a tradition in our family, that is something that we enjoy and share. Now, you will notice that you don't have to have a huge piece. After a few bites, you've enjoyed it, and you've had enough. So think about that too, if that's possible. You'll notice when you do eat something like that, the first few bites taste good, and after a while, you're just eating because you think you have to finish it, right? That's something kind of interesting. But don't deprive yourself of certain things, or you're going to go out through the holiday saying, gosh, I really missed having that chocolate cake. So do enjoy a little bit of it. Do not go to an event starving. Talked about that. Eat something really healthy if you're worried about that before you go to the event, and then you'll feel more comfortable choosing wisely or choosing a little bit of different things to eat, and you'll feel good about it. And your energy will be good, your mood and emotions will be good. Learn to share. We have a thing where we do one evening through the holidays, the family goes out to dinner somewhere, to a restaurant. So if we want to order a dessert, we'll get one, and 3 or 4 of us get a fork, and taste it. Because again, after a bite or two, you'll notice you've had enough of it. But it's fun too when you share with people. It makes it a really interesting and fun little experience. One key thing about mindful eating is don't aim to be 100% full. We do that. We think we have to be stuffed for it to be a good holiday, some of us. How about don't overstuff yourself and try that and see how you feel. You'll taste all the food better and you'll feel better. And watch out for those extras, the extra condiments, the extra stuff that we put on our plate, the stuff you're drinking, right? Sodas, alcohol. Those are the things that can really harm your well-being. And size really does matter. It's kind of interesting, the thing there. So one strategy, if you're really trying to be careful and not come through the holidays with an extra 10 or 20 pounds, is do pick a smaller plate and fill that up, and little things like that if you're concerned. So these are little strategies to eat mindful. And one little thing I like people to consider are a few other small strategies. You are in a situation where you're sitting down to a big dinner. Gauge your hunger level. Are you truly hungry? Or are you just eating because that's what you're supposed to do right now? So when you take one moment and think about that before you start this, it's interesting. You kind of can really gauge, well, how hungry am I really? And then that also will determine how much food you put on your plate and so forth. Practice really paying attention to the experience of the food on your plate. For example, what does it look like? The colors, what does it smell like, the aroma? Take a moment to give thanks. Take a moment to say to yourself, where did this food come from? And most likely you will get to a point where you realize there was a farmer somewhere in the world that worked really hard to grow that food and then to nurture it and harvest it. What about the sun and the rain and the soil that nourished that food? What about the farm hands that gathered it all up, packaged it, got it onto the truck driver that took it to the distribution center? What about the grocery store clerk that knew what to order, making sure that the shelves were full, stocked for you? And when you think of all of the care that went into bringing that food to your plate, and what about your Aunt Edna that took the time to purchase the food, make it, cook it, or yourself, right? And make it with love, because it's the holidays and they want to see you, they want people to be together. When you take just one moment, I mean really it only takes one moment to think about that, here's what happens. That food, all of a sudden, becomes an incredible experience. When you take a moment to give thanks, where that came from and all the care and love that went into getting that food onto your plate, and you take a moment to look at all the colors and textures and smell the aroma, and then you take that first bite, it's a completely fulfilling experience. Often, when we come through the holidays, eating too much, drinking too much, now we have extra weight and so forth, it's because we weren't truly fulfilled and we're trying to fill ourselves, right? Can you imagine just that one moment and experience? And I promise you, that food will taste better than you've ever tasted when you think about where it came from, okay? So cute little tricks to be mindful, and I end with giving thanks, because the first holiday, of course, is Thanksgiving. And I do have a whole webinar on my website that talks about Thanksgiving meal and how to make it healthier. So that's also little tricks. Like take a recipe that was a family tradition and let's look at it and tweak it. For example, the sweet potato casserole. Okay, I never understood where did it come from that you would put maple syrup and marshmallows on sweet potatoes. I mean, that is not food. That's like a really bad dessert, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Insult anybody. Right. So I know it's like sweet potatoes are already sweet and they're healthy. Like marshmallows? Okay, so what I did is, that's on my website, is I created a sweet potato casserole where I use coconut milk with the sweet potatoes. Like I roast the potatoes and then I mash them with the coconut milk and I put them in the pan. I sprinkle nutmeg on top and some crushed pecans. You can put a little cinnamon if you want. I mean, spices are good for you, the sweet potatoes are good for you, the pecans are good for you, the coconut's good for you. This is a truly delicious, healthy version of a sweet potato casserole, right? What else? The green bean casserole.
I know, I was just gonna say.
Canned Campbell's mushroom soup, cream of mushroom soup
Filled with
over.
salt and
Ooh,
crappy
Okay.
ingredients.
Candace,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, so I do at my dinner green beans with hazelnuts and orange zest. Right? Isn't that elegant? And I mean, if you like those foods, I mean, you can pick different nuts or whatever. So the zest of the orange has like the most incredible flavor in your mouth, and the zest from citrus has a lot of antioxidants that's really fabulous for you. And of course, in my family tends to be, my family's from Europe, so the European flavor of the hazelnuts is a nice treat for the holidays. I mean, so you can do things like that, right? Take recipes and do some tweaking and see. Now, of course, I'm still going to make my mother's pumpkin pie. Full sugar, full cream, all that. Okay, because it's my mother's pumpkin pie and I love it and I'm going to enjoy that every Thanksgiving. You see that? And that's also, to me, that's being in balance. And watch your Thanksgiving dinner, because almost everything that goes into Thanksgiving dinner is loaded with butter. So some of it's fine. Try to get a good organic pasture butter, like grass-fed butter for that. That's really good for you. But some of the dishes you don't need to add gobs of butter. What else can you add? A little bit of olive oil, a little bit of vegetable broth. right? Things to add some better nutrition. Okay, so that's Thanksgiving, but Christmas is big for desserts and sweets, and people say, well, gosh, what are we gonna do? So I'm gonna do a couple little healthy desserts for you. I have lots of dessert recipes in my recipe book and on my website, and there's webinars and videos on how to do healthy desserts and the health benefits of chocolate and all of that, so don't be afraid. There's lots of information available to you, and don't hesitate to call me. So I have a couple things I do. One of the things I do at the holidays, every year, okay, so, well, let me just mention, there is one thing I do. Every year, which is tradition, my nonna from Italy, every year made a special cookie called a crispatella. And very simple, but it is a dough, a flour dough, and you actually fry it and you fill it with walnuts and honey. Okay, so it's not bad, it's not perfectly healthy, but because I'm the only one in the family that knows how to make that traditional cookie because she's no longer with us, that's on my priority list. I spend time making that cookies. They take a really long time to make, they're very tedious. I spend time making that cookie and I give that as gifts, right, to my family members because they really appreciate that. Okay, so that's not perfectly healthy. There's honey rather than white sugar, but there's still white flour, and I'm still not a big fan of sugar overall. But that's once a year thing I do. But what I also do, so at the Christmas table, I always do Christmas at my house, is I have a plate of Nonna's crispatella. But I also serve my family my chocolate banana frozen dessert. And while it is bananas, ripe bananas, cocoa, pure cocoa powder, which is very good for you, no sugar, no dairy, and vanilla. Bananas, cocoa, and vanilla. You blend it up in a food processor or blender, you stick it in the freezer, and when you're ready to have dessert, I'm not going to make each one in front of you because I brought you multiple things to try. Oh, it's still thawing. We have this creamy, chocolatey dessert. I put it in a really pretty dessert bowl. And I top it with thawed out organic cherries or raspberries. And my whole family sits there and devours this chocolatey dessert. I never tell them it's healthy for them, right? Because it kind of ruins it for them. But it makes me feel good that of course they're enjoying Nana's cookies, but they're also having this decadent chocolate dessert that's perfectly healthy for them. And it makes me feel good that they enjoy something that's also good for them. If you're not a big fan of bananas, because it tastes like a chocolate-covered banana, and again, it's so simple, right? So simple. 3 ingredients, you throw in the freezer, you can't go wrong with that. But if you're not a fan of bananas, on my website and in my book, I do have a chocolate mousse that also is perfectly healthy. And you'll notice I don't add any sugar to any of my healthy desserts, because we do way overdo sugar, and it's not good for you. I do have a chocolate mousse. It's actually, if you've never tried it, trust me, you have to try it. It's made with avocados. So avocados, pure cocoa, and I use dates to sweeten it, or a natural 0-calorie sweetener like stevia or lakanto. And it's a silky, smooth chocolate mousse. It doesn't taste like a chocolate banana. Okay, so anyway, either one, perfectly healthy for you. Perfectly healthy for you, but truly decadent and delicious. So I have this one here that if you want to try, so I'm going to make a couple different things. So you come up, you can.
Do you need spoons or for them to?
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that. I was assuming you guys had silverware.
Yep, we do.
Plastic, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what we'll do is it's still thawing a little bit, because after we go through all this, you can come up and choose the desserts you want to try, and you're welcome to choose them all. Okay, so simple. Chocolate covered bananas. So one of the things also that we like to do at the holidays are like cookies, and I like to do, even though I'll do different things during the year, like I do a chocolate brownie during the year often, especially like around Valentine's Day and throughout the year, and all that is walnuts, dates, and cocoa. It's on my website, super easy. You just put it in the food processor, you press it in a pan, you don't have to bake it, and it's ready. Walnuts, dates, and cocoa. Walnuts are high in omega-3, they're anti-inflammatory. Cocoa's high in antioxidants. Dates are a whole food. Yes, there's sugar in fruit, but that is the exact place you want to get your sweet. It's from fruit, not from simple sugar. Okay, so that's during the year. I'll do the chocolate brownies. But Christmas time, sometimes I like to do little balls to make it fun. So I'm doing 2 here for you. One of them is a coconut ball. And I made them for you last night, because I'm going to make you the other one here today. And all I did was I took dried, unsweetened coconut flakes, and I added some fresh dates that I soaked in water, and and I chop them up, put them in the food processor, coconut, dates, a little bit of vanilla, pinch of sea salt. And if you want it a little bit gooier and thicker, you add some coconut oil. Is everyone familiar with coconut oil? It's like solid in a jar, pure organic. Coconut oil is actually very good for you. Those are healthy fats, good for your thyroid, actually helps you lose weight, good for brain function, anti-inflammatory, very good. And I do recommend people include some coconut in their diet if you like it. So, very healthy for you. But that's all it is. Coconut, dates, to sweeten it, a little bit of vanilla. Blend it up and you roll it in a ball, and you can roll it in more coconut. So, fun little treat, perfectly healthy for you. But again, you have to tell anybody that. You know, don't tell your family, they'll be like, what? It's just, so, my favorite thing, because I'm a chocoholic, is I like to do chocolate also. So, instead of some of these other chocolate ideas I already told you, another fun little cookie is chocolate almond balls, I call them. So I take almond butter. I have a cup of almond butter here. I'm going to throw in the food processor. And almonds are a wonderful source of calcium and vitamin E. Very good for you. So you're getting a lot of good nutrition from these desserts too. So isn't that amazing? And I eat dessert every day. I eat dessert every day of my life. Remember I talked about living in balance? It's actually perfectly normal that you have cravings for sweet. And traditionally, well, originally it was mother's milk. It was a little bit sweet when you were a baby. But then fruit. Humans are supposed to eat some fruit. And that's why we have that sweet craving. So you need to satisfy that sweet craving. If you don't satisfy the sweet craving, then you are never in balance, and you're going to be miserable emotionally, and your body's not going to satisfy the natural cravings that it has. So you've got to satisfy the sweet cravings by doing things like this. So I have a cup of almond butter. Let's hope I brought my cocoa. I have some dates that I soaked.
For how long?
Water.
How long do you soak them?
For how long?
Oh, 15 minutes if they're
Okay.
soft. Oh, here it is. Good thing. And this I use as an example. You get a really good raw cacao powder or cocoa. This is just Hershey's cocoa, right? Get it at any grocery store, Sam's Club, Costco. This doesn't have to be expensive. Almond butter's a little bit, but you can get that at the regular grocery store. Read the ingredients on this. What does it say? Cocoa. Cocoa is actually good for you. Very high in antioxidants, high in PEA, phenylethylamine, boost your mood and emotions.